and then he liked my profile back, and we became a match, and that was like for like a week I was there. Yeah, I remembered his profile picture. It was this. Yeah, he looks like, I'm sorry, but he looks like Mexican to me. I thought he was Mexican because he was holding this little puppy and he was like kind of like winking. He was wearing a hat that was like put backward, and he was in a car. He looks very young. He was around the same age as me, and I was thinking maybe we could click. He messaged me out there saying his first words were like, "Hey," and then I replied back saying, "Hi," and then he's like, "It's very laggy here, or it's very slow here. Let's transfer to another app." Then I kind of like gave her my Facebook account. I think after 3 days, an unknown person added me on Facebook. I kind of like assumed that it was him because he was the only person I gave my Facebook account with. I accepted his friend request. He didn't really text me not until 3 days after. He kind of like said, "Hey," on Messenger, on Facebook. I was like, "Oh, hi." I kind of like assumed that it was him, so I said, "Oh, you found me." And then that's where we started. How we started. It was November 2018 that we started, texting each other over the phone through, Facebook. He would like tell me about. I would tell him like about my stuff. That I was working, and I'm like, the only time that I could reply to him was during my breaks. It's either I'm sleeping or I'm working. And we pretty much both have the same schedule, so it wasn't that bad at all. Staying late and everything. Our schedule was the same, our time was the same. I remember we were talking much about Christmas party because there was a Christmas party that was organized at work, and he was at time is residing or living in Virginia Beach. He lived with his friends, and he was a student and working at Lowe's. And then he was pretty much became like part of my lunch break. We would text each other. It was like close to the Christmas party. When he asked me if he could video call, I mean, I've never done it before. Like I said, I've been single for 5 years before I met him, and like being back in the dating game is kind of nervous. And like I don't know, like where should I start? And so I agreed to it, and I told him that maybe we could video chat after work. But I was stuck at work that time, so I told him, "Oh, we could video chat at work if you wanted." And so like rain was pouring outside. I was inside my office, and I for the first time we did video call, and it was so funny. Like both introverts over the camera. It's just so awkward. It was like the awkwardest thing ever. He was staring at me. He was like doing this. I don't know what was he doing with his hair, but he was doing this. Like he had a short hair that time, and he looks really young without a beard. He was doing this, and I was like, video call happened, and it was good for 3 minutes, or wasn't even less than 3 minutes. And then I turned off the camera and end call. It was, we didn't see end. And then he texted me. He kind of like apologized. He was like, "I think we hyped this up, pretty much earlier. It's okay, it's fine." And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm not really comfortable, like, in front of the camera. I'm really shy about that. How about call?" I told him. And so, yep, we ended up talking for the first time in your call. The Christmas party came, I was sick, but I still attended the Christmas party, and we're texting. And then, like, my birthday came in December, and then he kind of like greeted me. The day after my birthday, there was this pool party that I attended to. It was also like sort of my friend's like post birthday celebration for me, and a team like outing as well or something. So we went in this pool, swimming pool, and I was, yeah, drunk and everything. I got home during that night and drunk texting him. And I don't know, but all I remember is that we were just confessing that. And yep, in the morning I woke up, I read the messages on my messenger and it became official that just because I was drunk texting. Drunk texting. And the rest is history. So Jesse and I had our first meeting on March 2019. He spent his summer break with me here in Cebu, and we've explored some places here for a couple of days, being together. Okay, after we became official, after my birthday, Jesse and I had the talk already about, meeting each other, and I was thinking it was way too soon because we only knew each other for like a couple of weeks, and I just think that it was too early for us to meet. But then he was like, if you really love someone, you would fly and see them in person, stuff like that. I thought he wasn't being serious because it's been a week only. It's been 1 month of being together, being 1 month being in a relationship with him, and I just want to know him more better. And I just kind of like brushed off the idea, and I thought he wasn't serious about that. Not until January 2019, when he texted me out of the blue saying that he booked a ticket to see me in March. So our first meeting happened on March 9, 2019. He stayed here for 3 days. I picked him up at the airport on a Saturday night. I didn't told my parents or anyone in the family that I'll be meeting somebody who was from outside the country, because I just want to make sure that the guy that I'll be introducing to my family will be the guy that I will end up forever. That is the reason why I didn't told anyone except my friend. So the only person who knew about him is my friend Lizelle. I asked her if she can accompany me to the airport to meet somebody, and she's like, sure. What's this? And I was like, it's a guy that I knew on a dating app, and he's coming to see me. And so the plan happened. I kind of like lied to my parents about the first meeting. Sorry, Mom. I told my parents that I'll be out of the city, going south of Cebu to a beach, to a team building with my coworkers. It's an overnight, and I'll be gone for a couple of days. So I packed my bag Saturday night, meet Lizelle at the 7-Eleven just right across the hotel that we are checking in. And I brought these 2 bags with me, and I brought it with me to the airport to meet him. And so I remembered his flight was 9 p.m. so I had to be there at like 8 or something. Yeah, that was the most nerve-wracking thing I ever did in my life. Felt guilty for lying to my parents, but yeah, I was just taking risks for love. And I was there. I had that moment in the airport when I told my coworker that, you know what, I'm going out, I'm going back. I'm really nervous right now. I don't think I'm ready to meet him, something like that. And to think that Jesse was already out of the plane. He was texting me saying that I'm on the immigration now. I'm wearing this thingy. I'm wearing this flannel, checkered flannel and brown and a khaki pants. And I was like, oh my god, it's for real. He's like just meters away from me right now. And I kind of like decided to like back out for a couple of minutes, but my friend was like saying, you're here already, why would you want to back out? You're gonna leave him hanging out there in the airport. He is waiting for you as well. And Jesse walked to that sliding door with a bag, with a backpack, hat on, a checkered brown flannel if I'm not mistaken, and a white shirt, the brown pants or khaki pants. And he ran. I saw him first, and he saw me. And we just kind of like hugged each other. And I was really nervous. That was nerve-wracking. And the only thing that came out of my mouth was, "You're so tall!" And he just kind of like gave me this awkward smile, and he didn't even say a word. I was like, "Oh my god, it's real! You're real!" I was like, I still can't believe it. I had to get my backpack that was with my coworker who was holding my backpack. Then after that, we dropped off Lizelle to the nearest bus station, and Jesse and I went straight ahead to the hotel room that I reserved for us. So the hotel room that we checked in was actually just so close to the house. I did ask him to book that hotel because it's close to my house, and you know I was taking extra precautionary measures, I guess. He still didn't know where was my address that time. We were dating already, but he didn't know where my address is. All he knows is that I was living in Mandaue City, but he didn't even know where exactly is Mandaue City. It was actually his first time at the Philippines as well. He had never been to the Philippines, even if he's half Filipino, half white. And so I'm glad that I was the first one to welcome him to the Philippines. You know. So on March 10, 2019, that's a Sunday, I gave him a tour to downtown Cebu. We went to Cebu City. We visited the famous Basilica Minore del Santo Niño Church, which by that time was a Sunday. There were a lot of people at the church, and we were not allowed to take photos of the church, especially tourists, if it's a Sunday. But I did brought him inside the church to see the artifacts and paintings and murals, you know, of the Spanish occupation here in the Philippines, which is really nice. I also brought him to the famous Magellan's Cross, and then we also visited Fort San Pedro, which was a very old like fort that was built around the Spanish era as well. It was more of like a museum. And there were also a lot of paintings there and historical artifacts that is all about Cebu. We spent the whole morning strolling Cebu City. Then we decided to go back to our hotel room later that afternoon, because I have planned to introduce him to my friends and my coworkers later that night in a restaurant/bar in the uptown Cebu. We didn't get to take many photos of our strolling in Cebu City because we were just caught in the moment, I guess. I mean, I just want him to enjoy, and I just want him to know the place and introduce him to the Philippines because he has never been here. Introduce him to culture and our history. And then later that night, 6 p.m. Sunday, I arranged like a meeting with my friends and my coworkers. I introduced him to my friends, Jama and Zal, because they were the only ones who kind of like arrived that time. The others didn't make it because I didn't tell them that I was introducing them a guy. All they know is that wanna hang out with me, something like that. So Jama was kind of like shocked when she saw that I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" Like, yeah, this is the one that I told you about. And she was just as shocked as she is all the time. We had a couple of drinks. We were drinking. There was a live band. She had a couple of Red Horse, and so my friends were interrogating him. And then so like as the night was progressing, it was kind of getting late, and so I told him that we're going home now. It's kind of late. You know, we were both tired as well. He still got jet lag from last night. It's really been from last night's flight. But then Jama was like, "No, you're not going home, not until you guys are sober. we ride in a taxi, and next thing you know, we were like on top of Cebu. Top of Cebu is like the highest portion of Cebu wherein you can very low tide. There were a lot of creatures, and I told him to be careful with sea urchins because there were lots of them there that time.